After US and Israel, I think India is the third largest startup investment. And I think
That's how easy.
I think there's a huge space, and I keep within our team we keep talking, and we still feel we have just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And in fact, in all our team meetings, I have a favorite saying: "It's still day zero."
Still day zero?
Yeah, it is day zero.
Welcome to Clearcast. Another episode, another guest, and we'll have some very interesting stories to share, very interesting questions to discuss with our guest Shridhar. He is one of the founders for Startup Movers, a business, a company which is making difference to the lives of a lot of startup founders. Shridhar comes with a lot of background and experience across various companies, and I think, as far as I know, he has been an angel investor as well. So let us welcome Sridhar to the podcast, and we'll start off with the questions.
Thank you, Dipankar. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sridhar. So actually, I was just going through your profile, LinkedIn and stuff. So you are right now one of the founders of Startup Movers.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a virtual CFO kind of a company, right?
Yes. So basically, we provide like outsourced CFO services and compliance accounting services, typically focused on early stage startups. That's what we do on a daily basis. At any given point in time, we are working with more than 100 startups at various levels of engagement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have been always hearing of this term CFO. Now, virtual CFO also now it's kind of very popular. So how do you think the role of a virtual CFO differs from a traditional CFO?
So I think the origin of the problem lies in the fact that early stage startups cannot afford a full-time CFO. At the same time, there are a lot of things to be taken care of in terms of compliance, reporting, regulatory environment, etc. Hence the need for a CFO. And by hiring a virtual CFO, they can keep that cost low. At the same time, they don't need a full-time guy. So they can optimize on the cost, at the same time get the expertise which they need to fulfill their obligations, fulfill their compliance requirements, fulfill their investor requirements, etc.
Right. And I understand, I'm a startup founder myself, and I think the need for this keeps growing as you...
Absolutely. And I think we are in a very complex regulatory environment in India. And at the same time, I think as the startup ecosystem has evolved, the requirements and demands of investors have also increased. There have been some unfortunate cases in the last 4 or 5 years. Without getting into names, I'm sure you have heard of them. The entire governance structure has got strengthened, and I think far more importance to governance now than it was maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And I think it is a stage of evolution of the startup ecosystem in India as well.
Right. I also remember of a story, right? When a lot of startups were flipping to the US. Flipping to Singapore. Now I see there's a reverse flip happening from those countries.
Absolutely. I think, the reasons at that time were completely different. And I think now the startup ecosystem has also evolved in India. If you have seen in the last 3-4 years, a lot of startups have listed in the, public markets. We have some very successful listings: Zomato, Paytm, Swiggy, Unicommerce, deliveries. We can go on, and many more are about to list in 2025 and 2026.
Okay.
So providing much needed liquidity to early stage investors, as well as providing opportunity for the Indian retail public to participate in the startup ecosystem. So I think it is good, and I think many of the founders who in the past had listed who had registered in Singapore or US for whatever reasons are now seeing a good reason to flip and come back to India, and in that journey for becoming a publicly listed company.
Right. Also tell me, Shridhar, you have been a part of many companies, bigger companies, smaller companies. And I also saw that you were the CFO for Capillary Technologies.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little more about your journey, how it started and how you...
I'm a chartered accountant, and I started my career in large companies. But even though they were large companies worldwide, when they started in India, they were like a startup. So for example, I was the first finance employee in 3M. 3M is a large conglomerate, and I was the first finance team employee of 3M in India. We took it public, and 3M India is the only subsidiary of 3M apart from US, which is listed in the stock exchanges. So then after that, I worked in Coke for a very long time, and from 2010 I've been part of the startup ecosystem. And before we started Startup Movers, I was the first CFO for Capillary Technologies. And we did a lot of things in Capillary Technologies. We also flipped to Singapore. Then there were a couple of M&As which I was a part of. We had done Series A, B, and C, couple of acquisitions. So there were a lot of things. We were the first company in India which took venture debt. In 2011, we took venture debt. So there were a lot of things, different things which I had experienced and had done. And during the course of this long journey, I also realized that, a lot of these early stage founders are struggling with basic things like governance, compliance, etc. And they needed support. At that time, when I was working in Capillary, I had heard these terms like fractional CFO, outsourced CFO, which were very popular in US. And somehow I thought, like, if something is working there, it should work here also.
Yes.
And that's when I got in touch with my other founders, Sambhav, Manoj, or Akash, etc. And all of us had more or less like similar vision, similar thought process. And in 2014-15 we started. So we basically started the Startup Movers in 2014, and we opened the Bangalore office in 2015. So we are going to complete 10 years shortly. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's been a long journey, and very fulfilling.
Very clear. That's what I was about to ask. Very fulfilling.
Yeah.
I'm sure the startups you are advising also must be feeling the same.
I hope so. I mean, we recently did a customer satisfaction survey, CSAT survey. The results were good, so I'm guessing we are doing a few things right.
Yes. No. I mean, with the size of the startups, do you see that what are the things they miss when it comes to? Is it that governance, or are there certain metrics, or?
So I think the problems of the startups are different in different stages of the life journey. I think in the early days, so first of all, I think a lot has to do with the founder mindset also. So especially first-time founders, I think they don't give so much importance to things like compliance, accounting, secretarial, etc. Until they are punched hard on the face. Okay, so a common mistake which many first-time founders do is they treat these as costs.
Yeah.
And unnecessary costs. For most founders are from tech background, so
Right.
they feel that if it's not helping sales or if it's not helping product, then we need not spend on it. So I think that's a big mistake. Because nowadays investors also, before investing, they do very detailed due diligence, financial and legal diligence, as you may be aware, and you guys have also raised funds, so you know how it is. So I think there they get found out with all these things.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's very important for first-time founders especially to focus from day one on things like accounting, compliance, etc., and hire the right partners. I know there is a cost, but I
think this is the
there is money well spent actually.
cost of doing business.
Yeah, there's a cost of doing business, and I guess in the long run there is money well spent.
When you said there are a lot of tech founders, which I would assume that since you're in Bangalore, there will be a lot of tech
Absolutely.
founders. Yeah. But what type of businesses typically benefit from a virtual CFO thing? Are there any other business like a manufacturing PC? Would it benefit?
I think it's a little bit sector agnostic. I think what is more relevant is the stage.
Right.
So in my mind, I feel companies up to Series A level, I think are well advised to outsource their entire finance and compliance. Maybe post Series A, they can hire a CFO or a finance controller, and then look at parts which the finance controller can do and parts which can still be outsourced.
Right.
But I think up to Series A, they're well advised to outsource. There are two reasons for it. One is that not all of them may have a budget to hire a good full-time CFO or a financial controller. At the same time, there may not be so much work also. Even if you have the budget, there may not be so much work to keep such a senior person busy and keep his hands full. And plus there are a lot of small intricacies. I think best to outsource it at that time, so that this would allow the founders to focus on product, go to market, tech, etc. So they can focus on things they are good at. I've seen so many founders in the early stages, to save costs, they get into Zoho Books, start doing some accounting, etc., and make a hash of it. And many times you end up paying more penalty than like what you would have paid to a professional in terms of his fees.
I would say that I've been also guilty of it in my first startup way back. I did this mistake. I mean, we are not funded, we are bootstrapped, and we're trying to do some stuff, right? At that time, for the first year or so, we tried to do, we didn't measure it enough. But then we got an outsourced accountant to work with him and stuff. But then again, he was also kind of handling a lot of stuff. He was not a CFO, but an accountant. We missed quite a few. We paid penalties. We learned the hard way. So now,
the advantage of sort of engaging with the firm such as us. So we have different practices within the firm. Like we have a CFO practice, we have an accounting practice, we have a GST practice, we have a direct tax practice, we have a compliance head, we have a secretarial team. So even though the POC who's interacting with the startup may not know everything,
right,
he can fall back on various resources. Should that be a technical issue, or should that be a problem which needs to be resolved?
Yes.
So that is where outsourced firm like us typically can help early stage startup. We may not have a budget to hire a CFO, really.
And I think as the compliances change and new regulations come in place, there is no way a founder would be able to know that.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And it's not his job also. I mean, he should focus on, what he's good at, actually.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with this. What is that one metric which you think a startup founder should focus at?
I mean, I've read this in so many books and so many things. I think the only one gospel truth is cash.
Cash, right?
Yeah. There is only one gospel truth. Everything else is, in Hindi case, cash is the truth.
Yes, and I think it has been there since time immemorial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you look at a very regular traditional Indian business or any other business,
absolutely,
cash is the...
Yeah. And I think founders are well advised, especially early days, to keep a hawk eye on cash and track cash balance on a daily basis, track cash burn. I think
that's very...
Yes, no shortcuts. This is the only...
and hence, I think cash flow management also becomes
absolutely. No, if you start tracking cash on a daily basis and burn on a daily basis, the rest will fall in place.
So are there any set of metrics, like a dashboard kind of metric, which the founder should look at? Okay, these percentages are moving up and down.
So, I mean, it is very difficult to put one size fits all, because, there are different types of businesses. You have B2B, you have B2C, you have SaaS, you have D2C. And each of these businesses have their own sets of problems, own sets of metrics, etc. But it's good to have a simple, dashboard which basically measures, your revenue, your cost of customer acquisition, your tech cost, your, cash balance, your weekly cash burn, your receivables. So, I mean, you have to tailor make the dashboard basis your requirements and basis the industry you are in. But I mean, I would think that some of these would be gross margin, revenue, gross margins, your receivables, your CAC, cost to serve. So some of these would be pretty useful to track on a frequent basis.
This is something which is not often very well considered, but I think it's...
So, see, the issue is, there's a famous thing, only if you track it, you'll start measuring it. Yeah. I mean, track it, measure it, and fix it.
Yeah, without measurement, it doesn't...
Yeah.
It could be anything. I mean, you need to measure it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, track, measure, fix. Yeah.
And how do you think tools help here? I mean, with respect to AI, I'm sure in the finance vertical also a lot of AI tools might be coming in.
Sure. So, I mean, this AI is a recent phenomenon, but I think a lot of founders have, for whatever reason in the past, blame the tools and thing. I remember when when I was in Capillavi in 2010-11, we started tracking SaaS metrics just on simple Excel sheets. We had no tools.
Right.
We just used to have a robust data gathering system and just convert everything into Excel and Google Sheets.
Right.
Of course, over a period of time, we built some automated tools, etc., as the size of the business thing. But not having tools cannot be an excuse for not tracking or not measuring. So that is the point I was alluding to. And yes, AI will help, and AI is already helping. And especially in a finance stroke accounting field where there is a lot of repeat transaction and things like that, it will definitely help. But I think more than AI, AI can help you convert large data into meaningful information. But gathering insights from that and taking decisions based on those insights, I think you still need smart folks. You need smart folks to still do that. Yeah, AI may perhaps help you crunch large data, automate some repeat transactions and things like that.
Right.
But gathering insights, converting those insights into actionables, those are steps which still need to be taken.
Yes, and I think it is a function which has to be measured on a weekly basis, and in fact what you said, no, some founders need to actually measure it on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Also,
Absolutely.
Now another interesting question I would have is, since you are a virtual CFO, you are not present with all these startups physically, or you might be going once in a while to meet them. So does this impact?
I think we have set levels of engagement with each of the startups basis their requirements. So we have various levels of communication. We have WhatsApp groups, we have weekly calls, we have fortnightly calls, monthly calls, and with most startups we have set up a calendar. So founders also know what to expect when. And of course, if there is anything, we are just a call away. So sometimes they just message, and if there's something urgent or they want to discuss something, we always have a call. So yeah, I think this works well.
So once for every startup, you kind of set up a calendar, and
we set up a calendar. We have the channels of communication, and once that is set up, I think after the first month or second month, things normally go very smoothly.
So do you see a trend? You said you did a CSAT survey with your customers. Do you see a trend in the founders now more inclined towards virtual CFO services? Do you see more inquiries coming in or more questions?
Yes, I think from when we started, we have seen a large thing. I think many founders and startups have realized the importance. More than that, they have realized the need also. Importance in terms of they have realized it's important to be on top of their governance, on top of their compliances, etc. And hence the need for outsourcing some of these to good firms who can handle it. I think we have seen a thing, and I think it does work both ways. One is that if you see the number of startups in India has also drastically increased. The number of PE VC firms have increased. The amounts flowing into India, I read somewhere that after US and Israel, I think India is the third largest startup investment. And I think
that's a reason.
I think there's a huge space, and I keep within our team we keep talking, and we still feel we have just scratched the surface. And in fact, in all our team meetings, I have a favorite saying: "It's still day zero."
Still day zero?
It is day zero.
No, that's good to hear, because that gives you the feeling that, hey, we are still growing. And the ecosystem is also growing.
And I think we have to be humble also. I mean, if you think you've done something great, and then that is the beginning of the end. We always feel it's day zero, and I think we are still yet to scratch the surface of the thing. It's still scratching the surface, and we're still figuring out what next. So
and that's a wonderful thing you have said. I think that is a mantra which I think all the startup founders should look at, because as you go forward, as you probably start acquiring more customers or start getting more money, start making more revenue, have more people, suddenly it should actually remain the day zero for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, it's not for us. I'm saying if you see the startup ecosystem in India,
Yeah.
I still feel it's a long way to go. I mean, like, yeah,
India still needs to get a lot of appetite for its capital.
yeah. I think, and I think it is happening. If you see, like, reading in the press without taking names, I think a lot of these manufacturing companies have started getting funding. A lot of these deep tech companies.
Yes.
Yeah, recently, I think last week there was an announcement, some drone battery manufacturer, drone companies. So I think a lot of patient capital is getting invested into India. Before it was just consumer internet and some SaaS companies.
Yeah.
I think a lot of patient capital. And I think and it ties in well with the vision of the government also. So all that PLI schemes, etc. So yeah, and the real long-term patient capital that is flowing in.
Because I saw with this budget also, I saw there was a 10,000 crores deep tech fund for funds.
Yeah, fund of funds. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of deep tech investments are taking place. Yeah.
Right. In fact, a aero show is happening. Two of our portfolio companies, I mean, from my lead investors, and they are exhibiting their drones there.
Oh wow!
And their aircrafts there.
Yeah. So
it's kind of, when you feel very proud when you see that
absolutely,
along with the US drones, Indian startup drones are also there, and they are also exhibiting.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's a very big moment for India, and I think, as you said, it is only going to grow forward and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Given the rapid advancements in technology, in AI or quantum, whatever is happening, right? Yeah, it will only accelerate this movement.
No, fully with you.
Right. All right, I think I hit. Okay. Any tools or software you recommend to the founders for? I mean, which they should. One is that which you said. Okay, there is a daily alert which you need to track. But
so basically, I mean, I think in early days, there are a lot of these tools available in the market. You have your Zoho Books. Till recently, QuickBooks was there. So there are a lot of tools available in the market. I think more than the tools, it is the ability to be disciplined, to use those tools, get out meaningful information, and take actionable thing based on the insights. I think that discipline needs to come in place. I mean, you should not become slave of the tools. Yeah.
And you must be dealing with startups who are kind of having customers abroad.
Yeah, sure.
Right? US, Europe,
Singapore.
And yeah. So now you deal with a lot of FDI inflow coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And companies have set up subsidiaries outside also.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend here? I mean, people should take funds to Indian banks, or they should keep funds there and set up a transfer pricing?
So, so most of these companies are like, where the back-end tech is in India or customers are in US and things like that. Yeah, you need to do the transfer pricing study, set up the company services thing, and, keep transferring the money from US to India based on requirements and things like that. But many of those things were true in the past when, this patient capital was not available in India. I think increasingly the need to set up an entity in the US just to raise funds may no longer be required. But yes, we have some companies where the holding company is India, and they have set up subsidiaries in US and Singapore, and some places in Europe for bettering the sales and business development effort.
Right.
I think that we will see more of we'll see more of that in the days to come.
Right. I'm also very bullish on that. You could have setups in different countries where you see the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Kind of expand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you have a good idea, if you have a good team, funds will find their way. You don't have to be incorporated in Delaware to raise funds. If you're incorporated in Udupi, but you have a great product, great team, great technology, funds will reach Udupi.
Yes, absolutely. That makes it so inspiring for founders, right? And I think it is true. Funds find their way. There are mechanisms and process in place to get you the funds.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Shridhar, we have 10 rapid fire for you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sure. Shoot.
Morning routine. Coffee first or emails first?
Email, WhatsApp, review of US markets, and then tea.
Okay, then tea. All right. One startup you wish you had invested in early?
Maybe Zerodha.
Zerodha?
Yep.
All right. One word to describe how you handle high pressure situations.
I think be calm.
Be calm.
Yeah.
That's the right word. An industry that's completely overrated right now.
Maybe traditional automotive and FMCG.
Biggest financial red flag in a startup.
There are too many actually. So maybe like, not managing cash properly. So I read somewhere that 95% of the startups which fail within the first 5 years fail because of poor cash management.
For example, I would say an example would be you raise an invoice, you don't collect it on time.
So many things. Yeah, you don't collect it on time,
negotiating the wrong credit terms.
Yeah, negotiating wrong credit terms, wrong pricing.
Yeah.
Wrong pricing, poor gross margins, expenses, not tracking expenses, not tracking metrics, CAC, LTV, cost to serve.
One book every entrepreneur should read.
Okay, Peter Thiel's 0 to 1.
What is your guilty pleasure when you are not working?
Play 18 holes of golf.
Which golf course do you go?
So I play in MEG, I play in AFC, and maybe once a month in clubbers.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
I am too small for all that, so I will play myself.
What's an unpopular opinion you have about startup culture?
I think too much is made of, this hustle and speed and long working hours, etc. Sometimes we have to be more productive rather than spending 12 hours in the office. So I feel like I see a lot of people just wasting that time in office rather than being productive. Somewhere productivity is equated to number of hours in the office. Nothing can be more far away from the truth than that.
So being busy is not being successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you could eliminate one common mistake founders make forever, what?
I think again I'm coming back to the same thing. I think poor cash management, poor compliance standards, very poor tracking of metrics, not having a dashboard or a weekly MIS and things like that. I think it all boils down to that somewhere. I think.
Okay. Yeah. So it has been cash, compliance, tracking, and experts, right?
Yes.
I think these 4 things are very important. And as Shridhar said, for any founder, these things should be incorporated from day one. It sounds very hard when you start doing it, but I think once you put this in practice, even with the guidance of an expert, the subsequent weeks and the subsequent months and years become very comfortable and easy for you. Otherwise, those surprise penalties in an email and those notices are very painful. And that happens in today's tight regulatory environment and a rapidly changing regulatory environment also. As founders, we don't even know what has changed. Probably what is this impact of this budget? Probably half of the founders won't even know on their startup. So it's very relevant to engage with experts. And the fractional CFO model is an amazing model in which you can actually engage with experts on a fractional basis because you don't need all of their time anyway, but you get sorted. This was the take from this podcast with Shridhar. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We have very clear, I would say, points here: cash, compliance, dashboard, and experts. So this is what we need to measure. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to this show.
Thank you.